Chase Lee Hockey here at the Blue Futon at the theaters. Violent Night. Does David Harbour make a good Santa Claus, or a good nobody, or a good John Wick? We are about to find out. So Violent Night, what's about the very simple premise actually of Santa Claus. Not some fake bass Santa Claus. No, this is the real Santa Claus that's been alive for over 1,100 years. And now he's just kind of tired. Kids just want video games. Kids are needy. They're greedy. They have an attention span of TikTok. So he's just tired of being Santa Claus. But while accidentally sleeping and drinking at a house, he realizes, wait a minute, people are about to die. What's he going to do to save this family? So did I like this film? It was an okay film. For me, the first 15-20 minutes, I was not feeling this movie at all. I was not feeling the humor, not feeling where this movie was going, the message. I'm like, oh God, I do not like where this is going. But it's a roller coaster ride where it keeps getting a little bit better and better throughout the viewing experience. So with that, I'll give the positives of the movie first. I think it is a unique premise of having Santa Claus kind of being a badass, having a little bit of backstory and figuring out what he can do to point A to point B. I do like what they did with the kills. Some of the kills were very fun and unique. And there's also a fun little gag about Home Alone. Because everyone watches Home Alone and like, if that happened to you, you'd be dead. You'd be dead. You have a dent in your face. And this kind of does the same way of like, you know what? Let's make Home Alone for real with some of the kills. And I did enjoy that small premise. Also, I think the majority of the acting did work overall, especially with the family member, the actor, the kid actors. David Harbour as Santa Claus, that was a little bit iffy for me. Some scenes were good, some scenes weren't. But overall, I thought the overall acting experience was worth it, as well as John Leguizamo's, whoever how you say his name, who was also in the menu character. He played a good bad guy. And like I said, the story does get better throughout the movie, because the first gag of throwing up what Santa Claus was doing, I was like, I'm not feeling this. This is not funny to me whatsoever. But when the kills do happen, when they're in natural light, it is pretty good. So moving on to the negatives, it is the fight sequences. What do I mean by that? Some of them are good. Like I said, the Home Alone ones, the ones where you actually see what's happening. That's the thing. A lot of movies do these nowadays, is where we'll be in a dark shed and the only light is a so-called like lantern that's outside shining through a grated window. So you're like, okay, I think that person got his head chopped off. Oh, I think that person got stabbed in the thigh. I think that person got stabbed there. So it is a dark movie, and that is unfortunate. I just feel like a lot of movies do this now to try to get away from the stunt choreography. It's like, if you have a badass person that can do the stunts, you got to show what they can do. Yeah, you can see some cool gore here. Oh, a head got chopped off. The guy's going to a snowblower. But I want to see more action fighting. If this is from the producers of Nobody and John Wick, I expect some like badass, at least like in Nobody, you're in that bus. You see what's happening with Bob Odenkirk and the Russians. Here, you really don't have that. You have maybe one or two where it's like 1v1, 1v1, 1v1 with a hammer. And while those are enjoyable, the main one, I wanted to see exactly what was happening. And my final negative with the story is trying to talk about Kris Kringle, Santa Claus's backstory. You get a maybe 15, 30-second backdrop of him with his sledgehammer, or what he calls it. I don't remember what he calls his hammer. But you're like, oh, let's get a little bit of that backstory. Nope. We're just going to show it for a little bit and then talk about it to the little girl on a walkie-talkie and then talk about Mrs. Claus. You're not going to give me, like, and their excuse throughout the movie is it's Christmas magic. I don't know how it works. It's Christmas magic. I don't know how it works. I think they said it 4 times in this movie, and I'm like, come on, you got to give me a better excuse than that. It doesn't make sense. And then the other thing that doesn't make sense is the overall plot of the movie about doing something with a safe and how this twist happens. You're like, if it takes that long for that to happen and that person wasn't there, how did he get that key in that short amount of time? And then with all the cameras, move that. It doesn't make sense. The overall twist of like that, you got to explain it, but they do not. But overall, Violent Night, Usually this weekend in movie theaters, the December 2nd one is kind of the throwaway ones where they know the big blockbusters or big Oscar contenders are going to be throughout the month of December. Violent Night isn't a bad one, but I was expecting a little bit more. Like I said, the acting's pretty good. Some of the fight scenes are fun, and some of the humor does work. Unfortunately, some of the humor doesn't work when you have the main battle sequence with like Santa Claus versus 10. Show it in the light. Don't have it in darkness. And like I said, it starts off where I'm like, where is this movie going? Not liking it. But overall, I think I give it in the positive rating. So Violent Night will receive a 3 out of 5 with Futons, which equals at 60%. So see the critics and user scores gave this one. This is probably going to change when I actually copy and paste. We have Violent Night audience scoring 86% with fewer than 50. Critics a 66 with 85. Here's critic consensus. Violent Night isn't as wildly entertaining as its concept might suggest, but those who seek a harder edge holiday fare, it may be a whole lot of fun. I mean, sure, like I said, there's some good battle sequences, good gore in some scenes, but overall, you've seen it a million times before, and you've seen it done a lot better. Just give me fight sequences, at least in the house with some lighting, right? 60, 66, 86. Chase out with the Boof Futon. Like, comment, subscribe. Another thing is Booftopia. You Booftonians, thank you for watching. Have a great day, and you better believe, yes, you better believe in Santa Claus, because I sure as shit do.